How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lo4f, and today I'm going to go and do a contract called Restoring the Water Tower 1. And yeah, in the end it's not too much of a crazy mission, so I decided to take this Zikz 566A out just to see how it handles towing a trailer. Yeah, for this one there's a water tower here in like the bottom right. I need one cabin and two metal rolls. I've got a cabin at that warehouse, but I've only got one lot of metal rolls, so I'm going to have to go to this warehouse anyway. So in the end I'm just going to go there and get all of it. And then yeah, I've kind of done a bit of a different route there just so I'm not doubling back on myself too much, and then kind of follow the road back past the garage and yeah, to the bottom corner. And for this mission I was actually tonight I've kind of done half of the what they call it, it's like restoring the fire station 1 or something, where there's 3 different warehouses kind of up near the rail yard that you've got to restore. And first of all, I took the trucks and forgot to take the water. So then I had to turn around, go and get the water and do all that. And then I've kind of done one half of it, so I was going to build the next set of trucks that I was going to take with me. And then just as I was looking around, kind of the water towers I've got on the map at the minute, I'd basically have to go like exactly the same route again as I did the other day when I was doing the rail yard one. So then I decided to do this mission, basically restore a water tower, being as once I've done the other mission where I'm putting out the fires and delivering water, there's not, as far as I know, any other reason to have the water towers in this game. So I just kind of figured, partly so it makes a different route for when I do that mission. I'll finish it off now since I'm like halfway through. Yeah, just kind of, there's not too much point in building water towers after that. So I'll obviously get them done at some point anyway, because there's all the missions that are like build a water boom, which for those that you don't know is just like, they're not water towers, you can't get water from them, you just can store water in them, which yeah, seems a little bit pointless really. Well, again, it's like another example of it. This mission now, I'm off to go and get a cabin and 2 metal rolls. If I wanted, but I don't really see the point, I could drive to the warehouse that's near the garage and drop the metal rolls and cabin off there. I believe I could anyway. And, you know, like, store it there, but there's not really any point. Once you grab the water, you may as well just take it to where you're going. So yeah, like I say, that's how I just ended up doing this mission in the end, which, like I say, was probably for the best, because I messed up the other mission. Forgot to take water. I don't know, it didn't even occur to me. I even looked at the water tower as I drove past it, and I still carried on. I suppose I was just treating it like a fuel trailer really. I suppose when you spawn it, it's already full of fuel. So it just never even occurred to me until I was literally a truck length away from where I've got to drop the first lot off, and I was like, oh crap. Yeah, I need to go and fill those water tanks up first. And there is a contract called Restoring the Water Tower 2, and that kind of builds another water tower near the one I used for the first half of the other mission. But in the end, it's not the one that's already kind of in the top right of the map. Is already pretty handy where it is, to be fair. So I'm not as desperate to build that water tower 2. Obviously, again, at some point I will, because it's one of the contracts, but it's probably not going to be of any more use to me before I get all these different water delivery missions done. And yeah, like I say, in the end it was a good excuse for this mission to go and try this truck out, because I mean, it's got a saddle low, so you can actually take a water tank with this truck, which might be interesting to try. I'll see. To be fair, those water trailers, like the semi-trailers, once you actually filled them with water, they don't feel particularly heavy. It still feels like there's something awkward going on. It feels like recently as well, after they've released this phase. Again, I'm sort of suspicious that they fiddle around with things in the background, kind of like a week or so after they release the phase. To me, I'll still need to do a bit more testing, but it feels like they've now like literally slowed the high gear down in the high range gearbox. Sometimes it just doesn't feel like it's pulling anywhere near as much as it used to. I even sort of noticed it the other day when I used that Ford Clip 9000 to do the whatever mission it was. Yeah, go and get the hay bales. I was saying as well, I wish I'd used the 57X for that one. I forgot to even look at that truck. I just kind of, for whatever reason, I was just scrolling through, I found that Ford, and I just started using that, but yeah, it would have been a pretty good reason to use the 57X. But I'm sure there's quite a decent kind of roadway in this map, so as and when the next mission or contract I find where I can stick to the main roads, I'll get that 57X out, because I don't think I've really properly used it in a mission yet. And yeah, kind of went slightly the longer way round to this warehouse, but again, it just saved me doubling back basically on the road I'm now going to drive down. I could have just came that way. Yeah, that's what she said. Yeah, for this one, cabin and 2 metal rolls. And now, just to mention it, because I already knew this, but I didn't really care at this point. I've just got the cabin from that warehouse, and when you do Restore in the Water Tower 2, you'll need a cabin. I think instead of metal rolls, you need 2 lots of small pipes, which I believe that warehouse has also got. But now, obviously, I've used the cabin out of it, so I'll have to go to that warehouse near the garage, get the cabin, then to that warehouse and get the small pipes. Again, I already kind of learnt that, but I wasn't too fussed. Just, yeah, this bit of footage here. Can you see, like, the big mound building up? As it was dragging the trailer there, like the step deck as well, which used to be pretty bloody good for just, like, sledging its way across everything. Whereas, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, that looks like it was basically dragging through the mud, and kind of the mound between where the tyres have, like, made ruts in the ground. It was making all that bulge up like it was churning it up, like it was ploughing it almost, and it was making my truck go a bit slower as well. And this truck as well, to be fair, it's not too bad, even hauling this trailer. It's done alright, all things considered. I mean, in the scheme of things, I'd probably still prefer a truck with like 2 rear axles, just because it's more stability, there's more wheels touching the ground, applying power and all the rest of it. Every now and then the steering feels a bit light on this, like it doesn't really listen to you. But if you hold the steering on too long, it kind of, yeah, kicks in pretty well. And I've still got to do a gameplay and review on this, but to be fair, I'll be looking forward to doing the gameplay and review on this truck, probably more than I was in the end with the Derry, because that one was so slow. And yesterday, I didn't do a video in the end yesterday. My brother popped down, and yeah, he was here for sort of all night really, so was messing around, having some coffees, ended up playing on what's it called, the Isle of Man TT racing game. We had to go at that because he used to live over there for a little while as well, so he sort of, considering he's sort of never played the game before. Years ago they did an older TT game, he had that one back 10-15 years ago, whatever it was. Yeah, you can tell that he kind of roughly knows the track already. Yeah, that was pretty good. Messed around on Wreckfest as well, so and then in the end, by the time he left, it was just time was getting on a bit, so I thought, sod it, I'll skip it tonight. And yeah, the fuel, how much fuel does this thing hold? Is it 180 or 150? It seems to, it's not crazy for it, but I suppose it's probably just because it's a smaller fuel tank. But it's definitely noticeable, like doing a trip around the map like I just did then. The fuel was, it's certainly been used. I think I'd used about 2/3 at that point, so I might have just about been able to get this mission finished, but it probably would have been pretty close either way. We've got a goddamn professional with us, so I could always, got fuel supplies with him as well, but since I was going past the fuel station, I figured why not. And I noticed as well around this point, if you look on my gearbox, it says I'm in 6th gear, but out of 6, because when I was kind of half paying attention when I was driving earlier, and I noticed it said 6, but I just assumed, oh, out of 8 gears, like it wasn't letting me climb up all the way up the gearbox again. But then as I was looking about now, I was like, oh, hang on, that actually says 6 out of 6, so I am in top gear. But then I was thinking, hang on a minute, the high range gearbox has 8 gears, so then now I was wondering, have I put the wrong gearbox in this, or, you know, wrong for me, like assuming I would have had the high gear, the high range gearbox. So I pull over now because I just wanted to go and check. I wasn't sure if I'd left like the balance gearbox on, which I can't even remember, it's been that long since I've used it, but I was thinking that probably has like no high gear or missing the low gear, it'll be something. So yeah, just as I was going right past the garage, quickly recovered in there. And I have got the high range gearbox on, and it's got the normal ones like how it would be with the other, say, 6-wheeled trucks. It's got like the balance, the high range, the fine tune, and the off-road one. But yeah, for whatever reason, this gearbox has only got 6 gears, which is not the end of the world to be honest. It still feels like the truck drives reasonably well, considering again what they've done, like messing around with the gearboxes the last phase or so. I mean, even cutting through this bit, for example, I drove through here the other day in the Derry, and that new Derry Special 15C thing, and I'd say this thing's probably going faster than the Derry was along here, and considering this thing is hauling a semi-trailer at the minute as well, certainly gets more of a move on. And the high gear, see now the high gear feels pretty normal. I'm sure earlier when I set off and was like driving out the garage and all the rest of it, it just feels a little bit on the slow side. It did a bit as well with the mission I did. I'll get the footage for it pretty soon. I'll finish off that, like restoring the fire station 1 or whatever the hell it was called. Well, it might be storage, I can't remember. I lose track of all the names of these missions. As well, yeah, it's, tomorrow I'll hopefully be doing a live stream, but again it's the same situation unfortunately. I'll go on it tomorrow, like I'll try and get on a bit earlier and test it out with the blue screen in. If at least it's lasting a good while or it's not really doing it too bad, I'll do a live stream, but if it's just going to keep blue screening me again, I'll unfortunately have to skip it. Like I say, I'm hoping they release like some kind of update and patch pretty soon, because there's a few other people that were mentioning bugs they've got as well going on, so there's definitely is a few issues. I did a bit of a wheelie there. That's one thing. I mean, I'm not complaining about doing a wheelie, but I think, yeah, because it's got one rear axle, it does kind of, you're able to do a wheelie so it can lift the front end up, or at least lift the weight off it, and I think that's why the steering can feel sometimes like it's not really kicking in too much. At least if you've got twin rear axles, it obviously just the way it is, it like keeps your chassis sort of more firmly planted on the ground. And yeah, this is why I wanted to build this water tower, because this is just the most southern road on the map, and I was going to go this way instead of like the kind of southern map, the southern road, just to, yeah, when I get the water to go and finish these fire things off. Warehouse. I was trying to get the camera to look at the water tower, but it wouldn't really. It kept forcing the camera up in the air like that, but it wouldn't look at the water tower. But there it is, got it fixed up. And because this is a tower, not a boom, you actually can get water from this one. And yeah, money-wise, not too great, but again, I was just doing it more to unlock a few extra options with the water. But yeah, anyway, that's about it for today, though. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope that helps. Thanks for watching. Thanks to my Patreon members. Get yourself a loaf, because he's a goddamn beast. And I'll be back soon.